Hi, my name's David, and I'm here to show you how to create a regional small business in Deskera. So let's click on Books. Now we're at the dashboard. Inside here, you can see things to do, like set up your company, import your data, connect to bank, create your first invoice, and complete organization profile. So the first thing we're going to do is set up your organization. So let's click Set Up Now. Inside here, we can update the name. We can choose which country you're from. We can select the currency. We can change the financial year start date, and we can select the book beginning date. So for example, June 1st. So what is book beginning date? Book beginning date means on this date and going forward, all your transactions are going to be in Deskera. Everything before this date is your openings. So for example, all your chart of account openings, all your inventory openings and the inventory value, and any open bills or invoices that you're going to input in the system. So you're going to update that, and then going forward, from this date onward, you're going to be entering in the transactions in the system, either through connecting to an e-commerce platform or inputting it into the system manually or importing it using our templates. You're going to be putting the data into the system. Inside here it says, do you collect taxes? Yes or no. This is based upon the country tax compliance. So we selected the United States of America, so this appeared. If you select different other countries, other information will appear here. If you don't see anything, most likely the information is under your organization profile. So when you complete that, then you'll be able to see the information. So for this case, I'm just going to click yes, that we do collect taxes. I'm going to click create. Congratulations, your regional small business private limited organization has been created. So now they're asking us whether or not we want to import or explore the app first. We're going to explore the app first. Next, we're going to complete our organization profile. So let's click on settings. And then inside here, we can input the information. So for example, under organization, we can see our name, tax registry, and this is where we can select our date format. So for example, if we want day, day, month, month, year, 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 or month, month, day, day, year, 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 you can select it here. Next, let's go to finances. Inside here, we can see our financial start date, our book beginning date, our U.S. reporting currency. So this is our reporting currency. I selected USD, so it shows here. I can select the number of decimal places, 2, 3, or 4. Please take note. If you increase to 4 decimal places, you will not be able to decrease it to 3 or 2 later on. So you're able to increase it, but you're not able to decrease it. So please take note. Next, we can select the number format. We can activate multi-currency. And we can select the different types of currency. For example, maybe Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, and then we can save it. After that, we can go to compliance. So this is where I mentioned earlier that where you can set up your tax compliance. So this changes based upon each country. Each country's tax compliance will show something different. So for example, if I click this, I don't collect taxes, I can put in my tax ID, and I can put in the states where I do. So for example, California, Texas, for example. Next, we can update the company address. So I'm just typing in the address here, and then you can see it populates here. And then I can just click it. Everything looks good. I can click update. Yes. Next, let's click on settings. Inside here, you can see the organization profile. So just click on here if you wish to update it. User, currency. Let's click on currency. Inside here, I can see all my different currencies. If I wish to activate them, I just select it, and I can click on the eye icon. If I want to activate multiple, I select them and can click activate. If I wish to deactivate it, again, I can click on the eye icon, or I can select the currencies and click deactivate. If I want to see the active currency's exchange rate or change it, I can click change rate. Inside here, I can then update it, and I can see the previous exchange rates here, and I can click save. If I want to view a currency that's currently not visible, I can view the rate by clicking view rate. Next, let's go to settings, and let's go to payment terms. Inside here, I can see the different payment terms and the term days. Let's add a payment term. For example, let's add in net 60. We put in the term days, and then I can choose whether or not this is our default by clicking Use as Default here. After I save, I can click on the three dots, and I can edit, delete, or set as default. If it's our default, or Deskera's default payment terms, you can only set as default. You cannot edit or delete it. Let's click on Settings, and let's go to Unit of Measurement. Inside here, I can see the name of the unit of measurement and the description. I can click Add UOM to add a unit of measurement. For example, MT or metric tons, and then I can save it. I can also go here and edit it and delete it. So edit, and this will be the delete button. Next, let's go to custom fields inside here, and let's click create. Inside here, I can create a text box, multi-select drop-down menu, and numbers. So for example, maybe outlet. I can select as a multi-select drop-down, add options like Los Angeles, Austin, and maybe one more, Dallas, for example. And then I go next, and then I can select where I want to show up. So for example, maybe my contacts, my quotations, purchase orders, invoices, and bills. So this all depends on where you want to show up. And I can click create. I can also create a text box, so maybe I want contact name. And let's make this maybe 1,000. And I want that into contacts. And I can create a number. So for example, maybe size of company. Again, it's based upon your requirements, and you can go and input the information here as you would deem necessary. And maybe I'll add that also into contacts. Now let's go back to settings. Inside here we have our document templates, our audit log, so I can see what changes have been done in the system. Import log, so I can see if my file has been imported properly, and I can see if there's any errors. There'll be a blue file, which is your original. Green file shows you what's imported correctly, and a red file will show you what has not been imported. Email. So this is where I can put in the sender name, sender email, username, password, server host name, and port number. Once this information's been filled in, when I send out an invoice, it will no longer be sent by Deskera. It'll be sent by this email. Sequence number. So inside here, I can set it up so that I have different sequence numbers based upon the different transactions. So for example, quote, invoice, order, and bill. So I can go here and add in my prefix, separator, display, separator, and suffix for my own custom number range. Once done, I can select it here. Next, let's go back to the dashboard. Let's click Import Your Data. Inside here, we can import chart of accounts, products, contacts, and opening balance. Let's first import contacts. So let's click on Contacts and click on Import Data. Let's download the sample file. If you happen to have your own file for your contacts, you can just drag and drop it into here and then click Next. Now we're in the contact template. But what is a contact? A contact could be a vendor or a customer. And the system determines this based upon the transactions. So for example, if a contact does a sell transaction, such as like an invoice, then it'll be considered a customer. If a contact does a buy transaction, like a bill, it'll be considered a vendor. If a contact does a sell and a buy transaction, it'll be considered both a customer and a vendor. Now let's go through the fields. Inside here you can see sequence code. That's your unique identifier for your contact. You can manually input it or leave it blank, and our system will auto-populate based upon our default number range. We have our contact name, our currency, our email, receivable account, payable account. This is your payment terms, so this is where you can update it, your default payment terms. Your billing address, this is where you put your billing address, this is where you put your shipping address. And we have here tax number is tax exemption and tax exemption reasons. This is based upon the country's tax compliance. This changes, of course, based upon which country is selected in your tax registry. And you just update it accordingly here. If you have any custom fields, you can just add it on after that. So, for example, if I want to add in outlet, I want to call this Los Angeles and maybe Austin, for example. Like I want to know where the good old contact is from, I can just add it in here. But again, you can add in your own custom fields, and then you can save it. Now let's just drag and drop the file into here. If you don't want to drag and drop, you can click Browse, select the file, and click Open. After that, let's click Next. Inside here, we can see that the headers have auto-mapped. If you're using your own file and it's not auto-mapped, you can just click here and then select which file it should map to in Deskera. For example, my outlets. If I click here, I can go look for my outlet here. I can also say do not import this column, and I can also click Create Custom Field. So if I click here, I can create my custom field directly here. I don't have to click on Settings. So let's select Contact Outlet. Let's click Next. Inside here, we have our import properties. So under Import Options, we can add new record, update existing record, add new, and update existing records. In case of duplicate records, we can reject the duplicate, import the duplicate rows. In case of invalid values, we can reject the entire row, reject the invalid value, but import the row, or add the value in the dropdown. Then we can check and see if everything looks correct. And if I want to change something on the screen, all I have to do is click on it, update it, and then if I want to apply to the entire column, I just click Apply Edit to Entire Column. Then I can submit. Then after that, I can go to my contacts, and I can see my contacts have been imported. Next, let's click on Products. Let's click on Import Products. And inside here, you can see tracked and non-tracked products and BOM products, or BOM products. So what are these? So a tracked product is like an inventory product. So for example, your laptop, computer, mouse, soda, apples and oranges, carrots, chairs, tables. All items that you're buying as is and then selling. And you can track them based upon their quantity, based upon batch or serial number in our system. We have non-tracked products. Non-tracked products you can consider like services. So aircon repair, electrician, certified public accountant, doing auditing. Or it can be just products you don't want to keep track of, such as maybe printing paper, maybe those coffee cups with your company logo on it. So those are what tracked and non-tracked products are. Now we have BOM products, or bill of materials. Bill of material products are a bunch of components that are assembled together with maybe additional cost in order to create a final product. For example, you consider a PC with your motherboard, RAM, CPU, hard drive, case, and then you assemble it all together with additional assembly costs, and then you sell it as a computer. You can also consider like chicken soup. You have your broth, your noodles, your chicken, and then the cook will cook it, and there will be cooking costs, and then you have your chicken soup. You can also consider it like packages. For example, maybe hotel rooms plus a airplane ticket, helicopter ride. You combine it together into a package, and then you can also sell it like that as well. So first we're just going to go for tracked and non-tracked products, and we're going to click Next, and we're going to download the sample file, and we're going to open it. Now we're in the product template. Inside here you can see sequence code, which is your unique identifier for your product. You can either manually input it here, or you can use our default running number by leaving it blank. We have the product name, product type, which is tracked and non-tracked. We have our product description, any barcode. So you can input your barcode here, and then use our mobile app to scan the product for your invoices, quotes, purchase orders, or bills. This is your purchase account. Purchase price, again, this is your default, so it just is the default that's populated. You can always change it at the time of the bill. Sales account name, sales price, again, this is your default. You can change it at the time of your invoice. Is taxable, so this is based upon your country's tax compliance. Each country will have different fields that inside the system in order for you to update. So for example, since I selected the United States, the field is taxable. Other countries will have different fields. unit of measurement, opening quantity, and opening valuation. So what is opening quantity and opening valuation? Opening valuation is the total value of the opening quantity, and this is the opening quantity before your book beginning date. So after you select the book beginning date, this is the quantity just before that date that's still available in your warehouse or in your different locations. So for example, if I say 20 computers is, and the opening valuation is $25,045, this means that 20 computers is equal to $25,045. Then you have to input your cost of goods sold account, inventory account, stock adjustment. This is where you can input your warehouse. So you have multiple warehouses and you want your products default to be in different locations. This is where you can do it. This can be helpful if you don't want to manually change it every time for that specific product. Your purchase returns account and your sales returns account. Oh, and if you have any custom fields, you can just again add it after sales return account, and you'll be able to see it in the system. Let's save and let's import it. Now you can just drag and drop the file into here, or you can click browse and select the file and click open. If you're not using our template and have already created your products on another template or another sheet, you can just drag and drop it into here as well. Then let's click next, and then you'll see it's auto mapped. If you're using your own file, then you can map to Deskera by selecting the Deskera fields here. You can say do not import this column, and you can also create a custom field directly from the screen. After everything looks mapped, we can click next. Then inside here we have our import property. So again, you can select your import options, select in case of duplicate records, select in case of invalid values. We can go down here and check and make sure everything looks correct. And if something's not correct, again, you can just update it directly on the screen. So for example, and then you can click submit. Now let's click on products, and you can see they've been imported. Next, let's go to accounting. Inside here you can create your chart of accounts, and also we have the import option here. You also have your journal entries, your opening balance. So this was when we were talking about book beginning date. Everything before then, you'll be importing your opening balance. So you can manually input it here under debit or credit, or you can use our import option. Also, if you did not do so under inventory, you can input your opening valuation and opening quantity. Under contacts, this is where you can create your opening sales invoices and opening bills. You can also import them in as well. You can create your debit note, credit note, expense deposits, and you can set up your financial year closing. So for example, is it monthly, quarterly, yearly, or custom? And what is the retained earning account? And then we can save it. And inside here we can close the period. Next, let's click on bank. Inside here you'll be able to add in your bank account. So let's create one. For example, Wells Fargo. We can select the code or change the code here. We can change the currency, and we can put in the description. Then we can click Save and Next. After that, we can connect to Played. So let's click Get Started. We can look for a bank. It may just appear directly on the screen. For example, Wells Fargo. I just put in my username and password. If I don't see it, I can type it up here. For example, Union Bank. And then I can see my Union Bank here. I can scroll down and look for my other banks as well. And then I just put in my user ID and password. Each bank may have different requirements for you to sign in. If you don't want to select a bank, just click the X up here, and you can click Skip. If you want to use a bank in a different area, you can click here, Can't Find Your Bank, and then you can choose maybe Yachtly or Salt Edge. Let's click Skip, and you can see our bank has been created. Next, let's click on Sell. Inside here, let's create an invoice. Let's select a contact. I can click New Contact here to create a new contact directly from the screen, so I don't have to go to contacts every time. But since we imported some already, let's select one. So for example, maybe John. We can select the outlet here, so maybe it's in Los Angeles. And we can add a line item here, for example, a computer. But if I want to add a product, I can just click Add Product here, and I can create directly on the screen. I can update the quantity. I can update the price. I can attach a file and put a memo. I can click on Custom Field Settings. This will allow me to hide any custom fields that I don't want or show it. I can set as recurring. So, for example, if I'm lucky and this invoice needs to be created every month, every week, every year, I can select it here, or I can select Custom. And then I can select month, weeks, days, and I can input it. So, for example, maybe every 15 days it needs to be created. But let's just select monthly. Let's select the first document date. And we can select the ending date, or does it never end? We can also click on auto send. So this is where I can put my sender name, send to, reply to, invoice email template. And this is where I can put in my text and add placeholders. So for example, maybe contact name, hi contact name. Then I can send a copy to myself, and I can select my document template here. I also can click on more and select multi-currency. So this is where I can choose my multi-currency, such as Australian dollars, Canadian dollars. And if I want to, I can update the exchange rate here. I'm going to press cancel though. Inside here, I can select my sequence number. So I can select my default, I can manually input, or I can create another custom number range right here. I can click on this icon right here, and it allows me to change the labels of my items, description, quantity, UOM, price, and discount. So if I, for example, want to make it a service, I click service. I can type in another description here if I click on others. So it's up to you on how you want it set up. Now I can click set up payment, and I can link it to Veeam, Stripe, and PayPal, or it's not applicable. So I can receive my payments from my customers through these payment gateways. After all that's done, I can click here save and send, save and create, save and payment. I'm just going to save and close. Now it's telling me I don't have enough stock, so let's create a back order. Save and create. Now it's going to ask me to select my vendor here for the back order. So for example, regional supplies. I can select my outlet. So for example, maybe Austin. And I can see my products here, my quantity, and I can update the unit price here as well. Attach file, put in a memo. Again, hide or show custom fields, set it as recurring, and change the currency. Manage, change the labels, change the number format, and I can save it. Then I'm just going to quickly here click receive goods, and we're going to go click receive. Our goods have now been received, and an email will be sent to the person informing them that the goods are now available. Next, we can click on the three dots and click fulfill, and we can do direct fulfillment, pick, pack, ship, and drop ship. So direct fulfillment is the same like we saw in buy, where I just put in the quantity, select the warehouse and the date. Where pick, pack, ship is where you actually pick the quantity, pack it, and then ship it out. Drop ship is where the customer places an order with me. I place an order with my vendor, and the vendor then sends the goods directly to my customer. I never receive in my warehouse. And so therefore the drop ship purchase order is fulfilled once the customer receives it. I'm just going to click direct fulfillment. Again, you can see the primary warehouse, the fulfillment date, and the required and committed quantity. And if I want to, I can do partial. And you can see it's partial. I also click on three dots, create fulfillment, and fulfill. Now I can click get paid. So I can choose where I want to deposit to, and you can see our bank now shows up here. The bank transfer. I can change the currency. I can change the amount, so if I want this to be partial, for example, choose the reference date, reference number, click next, and receive it. Now I receive the quantity, it's partial. And I can click get paid again. And I can again select which bank I want. Choose the date, reference number, and you can see the amount has been reduced. And receive it. And close. All right. Just to mention, if you click warehouses, this is where you can add additional warehouses. If you click pick, pack, ship, you'll be able to see your pick, pack, ship orders and which ones need to be fulfilled. And let's click on apps. Inside here, we have our different payment gateways like Veeam, PayPal, Stripe, and Wise. If I want to receive payment from a customer, I can do that through Veeam, PayPal, and Stripe. Please take note, Veeam requires your base currency to be USD. You can also make payment to your vendor using Veeam and Wise. We have our fixed assets here as well. We can track our shipments using USPS, FedEx. We have our stock transfer, stock adjustment. We connect to multiple different types of applications using Integrately, Pabbly, Zapier, and Integromat. We can also connect to different e-commerce sites using Ecom. Like we can connect to Amazon, Shopify, and WooCommerce. So all you do is click open, then you connect to Deskera, then you connect to the Amazon account or the Shopify account or WooCommerce account, and then you can see your orders, customers, and products for all three. All right. Next, let's click on Books, and let's click on Reports. Inside here, you can see your different financial reports, like your profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow, general ledger. Just one of the key things I want to mention here is the filter, where I can add a custom column, and I can select my custom columns here. For example, quotation invoice, and I can select, for example, Austin or Los Angeles for my drop-down, and I'm able to save it. This allows me to slice and dice my financial reports based upon my custom fields. So that way I can get a different perspective of the report. And you can do that with the balance sheet and other reports as well. We have our bank reconciliation, our statement of accounts, our tax report. So this is based upon the country tax compliance. So you'll have different reports here accordingly. We'll see our purchase reports, such as our outstanding purchase goods received report, our purchase order report, debit note, age payable report. Under inventory, you can see your stock availability by warehouse, stock ledger, stock aging, how old is your stock in your warehouse, and how long it's been there in the value. So for example, stock aging, I can see the value of it and the quantity. Our sales return report, stock valuation, our sales report, our age receivables, invoice list, receipts, and credit notes. And that was a quick look at Deskera Books. Let's click on the switch to, and let's click on sales. Now we're at the dashboard screen. Inside here I can see organization, people, deals lost, deals won. The contact report, the upcoming activities, the deal stages, deals won versus deals lost, campaign, and tickets. But you'll notice no data is populated because we haven't done anything yet in the system, except for contacts. The reason for this is that we created contacts in Books. Those contacts have flown over to sales, so they've now been populated. So if I create a contact in Books, it'll populate in sales. If I create a contact in sales, it'll populate in Books. That way it's always sunk. Please take note though, if I delete a contact in Books, it will not update in sales, and if I delete a contact in sales, it will not update in Books. This allows you to delete the contacts that are not required. Next, let's go to settings. Inside here, I can see user settings. I can see team settings. So what is team settings? Inside deals and contacts, we can choose the visibility. Is it only for private, meaning it's only for the owner and sub-owner? Is it team view, only the teams can see, or is it for everyone? So inside here, I can create a team, and then I can decide. So for example, this is the default sales team, and I can see myself in there. So any teams that are assigned to default sales team can view it. I can create multiple teams and then choose which team can see it based upon the owner. The owner's team will be able to see it. Next, let's click on custom fields. Let's create a custom field. Inside here, I can create a text box, single selection drop-down menu, numbers, country, currency, and date. So you can select which one you want based upon your company's requirements, and after that, you can select availability. Should it be under your contacts or deals? Next, let's go to email. Let's connect email. Inside here, you can put your sender name, email address, username, password, your incoming mail server and port, your outgoing mail server and port, and whether or not you allow non-secure certificates. After you've linked it, you can then send emails using that email address from your contacts and deals. And if they reply to that email, it'll automatically update inside the contact or deal. Next, let's look at integration settings so we can integrate to Microsoft 365, Google Tag Manager, and webhooks. Under Guide, this is where you can add in your support domain. So, for example, general. For example, regional demo. And then I can search. And then I can see it's available. And then I can assign. After that, I can select my hero image, my logo, my favicon. Under settings, I can activate it, and I can remove the Powered by Deskera logo. I can also open and save. So inside here, I can see my wonderful help desk. And we'll add in later on the articles and the sections. I'll show you that later on when we get to services. Next, let's click on tickets. So this is where you can add your support email. So again, you fill in all the information, and then you have linked the email address to Deskera. So what does this mean? Anytime an email is sent to that email address, it'll create a ticket in our system, and then you can respond accordingly. We have our audit trail, our preferences. So inside here, this is where you can disable the Powered by Deskera logo in Campaign or Web to Form. We have our import log here as well, so you can see any imported documents. Next, let's go to contacts. So inside here, I can see my contacts that have flown in from books. I can always create a contact here. I can select, and I can change the label, for example. Maybe I want them to be warm. And maybe I want Mike. Let's change label to a cold. I can change the visibility, so private, team, or everyone. I can also change the owner and sub-owner here. One of the cool things is that inside here I can click on columns and then I can hide and show what I want. So for example, maybe I want address. I just want to move my label on up. Maybe I don't want to see owner, for example, and I can save it. And you can see it changed. All right, so next let's go to marketing. Inside here is where we can create our segments. Click Add Segment, and let's say maybe computer, for example. I can select my segments here and I can add them in. But if you have a large amount of segments, you can apply a custom filter here. Add a custom field, and then filter them out. So that way you can see the ones that you want. And let me just click Save. Next, let's go to emails. So I can see my email templates here. And if I want to add an email template, I can just click Add Email Template, put in the name of the template, select any category, and it's just as simple as just dragging and dropping. So for example, I'm adding in the 2 columns here. I'm just dragging in an image. Then I just go to my file and I select an image. So for example, let me take a look. Just drag and drop. Click on the image and it's been added. And then I can drag and drop maybe a text. And then I can input the information. For example, hi. And let's delete this. Select the placeholder. First name. So maybe hi John. And then I can just say, we have a great deal for you. You know, you put in whatever text you want. We have other information here, of course. We have, of course, box text, buttons, dividers, links, link block, item list. So you can just decide on what you want. Just drag and drop it here. The key thing is, though, you have to add in your contact details. The reason for this, it's because of the CAM Spam Act. So you can see here, You can't remove or hide the unsubscribe link or any other footer elements required by consumer privacy and anti-spam law. The physical address displayed in the footer is taken from the company details, or you can just update it here like I did, like edit contact details here. After all that, you can save it, and your template is saved. Just also mention, we have different views here, so I can see it in desktop, I can see it in tablet, and I can see it on the mobile phone to make sure it looks correct. We also can view the code here, toggle on and off the images, and import templates. So if you have your own HTML code, you can just paste it in here, and it'll populate and show. Next, let's click on Forms. Add Forms. We have two different types of forms, Contact and Deals. I can click Next, and then I can just drag and drop the different fields I want. So maybe I want email, I want phone number, and for example, email I want to mark it as mandatory. I can put in the form name, and if everything looks good, I can save it. If I want to add a custom field, I can click here, Add Custom Field. I can click Next, and then I can display a message. So after they complete the form, this is what the message will be displayed, or I can redirect them to another page. I can send a submission, email notification to somebody, assign owner, sub-owner, choose the visibility, and assign a label. After everything looks good, I can publish it. And this is the code. So I'm going to copy this code, or copy embedded code, and then I'm going to add it to my web page. That way the form will show up there. Now the key thing about the form is that after I embed it on the web page, anybody that fills in the information and submits it, it'll create a contact or deal in my sales system here. Sales system, CRM, it'll create right here under deals or contacts based upon which form I use. Next, let's click on campaigns. Let's create a campaign and add in the name. For example, June campaign. Again, your subject line, of course you can have it to whatever you like. I can add a core category. So you can create your own different categories here. I can click Next, choose my segments, create a segment, click Next. Select my template. So let me just use one of these predefined templates. Save and continue. Now if everything looks good, I can click Next. Then I have an option here. Deskera email services. I can use Deskera email services or use my own. If I use my own, I can add up to 5 accounts. If I click here, I can input the sender name, email address, username, and password. I can put the outgoing mail, server, and port, and allow non-secured certificates. I can activate that. If I do not want to use my own, I can use Deskera email services. I can put in the email name, email address, and I can click Verify Email. Then I'll receive an email and I can click on the link to verify it. It'll say your email has been verified. After that, I can just save as draft. Click here, edit. Click next, see everything looks good. And then I can see here, now it looks good. I can schedule for later. I can put it in the date and set it. And since I verified my email, I can now schedule. Now it's scheduled. Next, we can click on Go to Campaign. And we can see it here, category, publish date, and status. Once it's actually run, the status will change. Let's go to Services. Let's click on Guides. Inside here is where I can add in my different sections and my different articles. I've just copied some information and I'm just going to paste it in here so you can get an idea of what it'll look like. I can just copy this or cut this and put it in the title. And you can see the article. And of course I can bold it, italicize it, underline, strike through, bullets, numberings, change the font size, links, break a link, and insert an image here as well. After that, I can determine the visibility. Is it a signed in user, everyone, which section should it be under? Select the author and put in and preview it to make sure everything looks correct. After that, I have a choice. I can click save and it'll save it, or I can publish it. So your choice is, for example, if it's a draft, just save it. If you want to publish it, just click publish. Next, let's click on support. Inside here, I can see my different views, and if I'm connected to my support emails, I'll be able to see my tickets here. So let's manage your ticket view. Inside here, I can add a new ticket view. For example, maybe David's tickets. I can select the field, for example, let's say assignee is David. I can add additional conditions here, and I can save it. Next, let's go to deals. So inside here, I can see all my different pipelines, such as appointment schedule, qualify to buy, contact sent, close one, and then if I scroll over further, close lost. But if you don't want to use this pipeline, our default pipeline, I can click up here and add a pipeline. I can add in my different stages, change the stage name, help test, probability, rotting days, how many days before the lead rots, and then I can save it. But let's just use the default for one for now. And if I want to create a deal, I can click on the plus sign here or just click create deal up here. I can put in the name. For example, maybe that's a lot of computers, maybe just 10. I can put in the organization, for example, maybe Mike, contact person, Mike Williams. Any phone number, owner, sub-owner, visibility, private team or everyone, the value of the deal. Select the pipeline. So I can have multiple pipelines. So if I create my own, I can have more than one based upon my different types of situations, products. Inside here, I can select the pipeline stage, closing date, deal date, and I can save it. Once saved, I can see it here. I can also see in the list view here. I can click on the pencil icon and edit it. I can also drill in and see the information. If I wish to edit it here, I can click on the three dots, edit or delete deal. So if I've already connected my email, this is where I can send it out. Under activities, this is where I can create my activities. So for example, maybe a call. Let me schedule it, for example, maybe on Monday at, let's see, 9 a.m. Makes sense. And then I can set it. Put any type of text in here. I can see it's linked to my computers. Any contact person. Mike Williams. Organization Mike. And I'm able to send reminder emails to assignees. Send reminder emails to contacts. Let me just update this again. To 9 a.m. And set it. Now it's reflecting correctly, and I can see it here on my calendar. And you can see I can do a call, meeting, task, deadline, email, and lunch. And if I want to send a reminder, I can send it to the assignee. So assign to, for example, me. Or to the contacts, Mike Williams, Mike, and send it off. So Mike Williams would get the reminder. Then I can see it here for my future activities. Inside here, I can add any notes. I can see the log. And then after that, I can just drag and drop it to wherever I'd like. So for example, maybe I qualify to buy, presentation scheduled, decision maker buy-in, contract sent, and I can just drag it to close won or close lost based on my requirements. If I want to, I can drill in and also click deals won, deals lost here. Next, let's go to activities. So inside here, I can see all my different activities. I can see my call here. I can click on the list view. I can see it here. I can say all, to do, or done. And you can see here we can generate a calendar URL. So what does this do? I can get a URL here, and I can put it in my email calendar. And then all my activities will sync over to that email calendar. That way I can see what's going on directly from that screen. I know from that calendar my activities. I don't have to log in here. Every time I can see directly from that calendar. Next, let's click on Dashboard. And you can see that the data is populated based upon what we've done in the system. Next, let's click on the switch to, and let's go to People. Inside here, I can see my company name. I can select my country, for example, United States of America, put in my address, and it'll auto-populate. Please take note, the country compliance is based upon which country you select here. So I selected the United States, so the compliance will populate accordingly. If I select a different country, the information will populate differently based upon those countries' requirements, or that country's requirements. Let's click Next. This is where I can input the pay schedule. So for example, monthly. I can select the pay period, monthly, weekly, twice per month, or bi-weekly. And I can create more than one pay schedule. So inside here I can create one, but later on I can create more. For example, maybe my office staff works from Monday through Friday, but I other have shop floor workers that maybe work from Monday through Saturday or Monday through Sunday. It's all depending on your requirements. I can select the pay date. Is it the last day of the month or a specific date? I can select the first pay date here, for example, 6/30/2021, and I can change it if I want to. Let's click Next. And this is where I can input my employee's name. So for example, maybe Frank Watson, and I can put the email address. I can put any contact number if I want to. I can put in the basic salary, and I can choose. Is it per year, per month, or per hour? And I can add other employees. What I do recommend is you not add your employees here, but use our import option under employees. Plus it contains all the good old compliance information there, so that way you can fill it in at that time. Let's click Finish. Sit back and relax while we set up your organization. And it's now set up. Let's click on Settings, and we can go to Company Settings. Inside here, I can see my company details, my work week, my offboarding checklist. If there's some compliance information, it'll also show here, and it'll change based upon which country is selected. I can see my performance, and I can select my appraisal date and my appraisal period. I can see my tax details. So again, this will change based upon your country's compliance. So this one is for the US, so Federal FEIN, or Federal Entity Identification Number, business type, federal filer type, federal deposit schedule. So you fill this information accordingly. We have our payslip designer. So this is where I can just copy our existing payslip, and I can make changes, or I can just create it from new. But the key thing I just want to show you is the text. So inside here, I can insert a placeholder, and this field's change based upon different compliances, which country you selected. So for example, we're in the US, so I can see Social Security tax, year to date, Social Security number. So this is all based upon your different requirements here. Next, let's go click on the import log. So this is where I can see any imported data. So let's click on employees and click on employee list. And inside here, let's go edit Frank Watson. And here's your import template. So if you have your own employee import, you just drag and drop, or you can download a sample file, fill in the information, and then update it. So let's edit Frank Watson. Inside here, I can put the designation, birth date. I can put in date of joining, any confirmation date. I can put in his address. And it'll auto-populate. I can set the effective date for salary. So if the date is only effective from a certain date, I can put that in here. If not, I can deactivate it. Select the employee type, salary, and per month. Payment details. Is it a direct deposit, cash, or check? I can update any fixed components here, put a variable components or any benefits. And I can say salary advance here if I want to. Salary advance amount. Repayment start date, installment amount inside here. Now, inside here is based upon your country compliance. So I select the United States, so Social Security number is required. You can fill in all the other required information here, and it's all again based upon your country compliance. So if I selected a different country, the information here will change. But since I selected the United States, Social Security number, EIC, marital filing status, dependent claims in dollars, other income, deductions, extra withholdings, you just fill in the information, and once it's all done, you click Save. After that, we can click on Pay Schedule. So this is where I can create additional pay schedules. Let's click on Components. So this is where I can create additional components. So for example, if I want to add a component called Bonus, I can select, is it a deduction or earning? So hopefully it's an earning. It'd be very weird if it was a deduction. But if you select deduction, you can think of dental insurance, vision insurance, health insurance, and stuff like that. We also can select variable. Is it a percentage of basic salary, percentage of a specific component, amount per day for the days worked? And is it for all users or a specific user? And I can select the frequency, every pay run, monthly, quarterly, or yearly. And I can save it. So let's say yearly. Next, let's go to payroll, click pay run, and let's add a pay run. So I can select the pay schedule here, select the pay period if it changes, select the work week, payday, pay date, work period. So for example, this would be from June 1st to 31st. Is it apply to all users or a specific user? So this time we're going to just click Frank Watson and proceed. Now I can see my information populate. So I can see Frank Watson. I can add any overtime, 1.52, but if I want to change this, I can. So for example, 4, and I can input the information here. I can see additional earnings. I can see deductions and employer tax. Again, this changes based upon your country's compliance. So for example, since I selected US, I see federal and state. If I choose a different country, the information will change accordingly. Let's click Next. Now we can see the information populated because of 4 OT for 10 hours. And I can see the other information here. And I can click Process Payroll if everything looks good. Now it says, to ensure accuracy, please review your payroll numbers and make sure they are 100% correct. Do you wish to continue to process payroll? Yes. After that, I can click here to view summary. If everything looks good, I can click Finish. And my payroll has been processed. Now if I click on Employee, Employee List, and click on Frank Watson, I'll be able to see his pay slip by clicking here. You'll also be able to see your pay slip in your mobile app. So I can see the information. Next, let's click on Reports. So inside here, I can see my payroll report and my country reports here. So these are my country compliance reports. Since I selected US, I can see my W4, W2, W3. If I selected a different country, the report will change based upon that country's compliance. Next, let's click on eLeave. Inside here, I can click on Settings, Leave Management, New Leave Type. I can put in the leave type name. For example, Annual Leave. Put in the number of days per year. Select the leave prorate. Number of days, number of months, disabled. Does it carry forward the leave? What's the maximum leave balance? So for example, maybe 28, and I'm allowing to carry forward all 14. I can select the color here. I can select the gender. Is it for male or female? You can think of this as maternity and paternity leave, as they change based upon whether it's a man or a woman, how many days leave they get based upon that. We also can get marital status. We can allow for unpaid leave. We can activate it. And we have years of service entitlement. So for example, maybe 0 to 1, they get 10. Maybe 1 through 5, they get 12. And then 5 through 50, for example, they get 14, for example. And then I can save it. Next, we can do any leave adjustments. We can put in the yearly holidays. Under user management, we have teams. So this is where you create your different teams. For example, let me edit this and let me add. So for example, I can see David here is the manager of Frank. So David can approve Frank Watson's leave. And of course, I can add other users here. I can create additional teams as well. Under company settings, I can see my company details and my work week. Next, let's go to expenses. And inside here, I can see all my different expenses. I can go to admin. I can create my different groups. So inside here, I can see the admin. I can assign manager. I can add members. So for example, let me add Frank Watson. And now he's a member of this group. So by creating these different expense groups, I can assign who's the manager and who are the members. And the manager can approve the members' claims. And I can create multiple expense groups based upon the company's requirements. Next, I can go to categories, and I can create a category. For example, maybe golf. And then I can assign it to which group I want. So for example, I only have default group, but if I have multiple groups, I can assign to which one it applies to. For example, golf may only apply to certain sales staff or certain sales groups, while golf does not apply to other groups. So I can all define that. All right, so next let's click on Expense Dashboard, and we can click on New Claim. So inside here, I can add a claim. And after I add a claim, I can approve it. And the key thing is, you can look and see your pay slip on your mobile app. You can apply for claims on your mobile app, and you can apply for leave. So you can do everything in People on your mobile app. You can also do all your sales transactions on your mobile app as well. And of course, for CRM or sales, you can also see your deals, your activities, and your contacts on your mobile app. And that was a quick look at how to set up a regional small business in Deskera.